Good morning friend. Today we have to discuss the objectives and types of testing. Then first we have to discuss the objectives of testing. Whenever the machine is manufactured in industry at particular design, then it is very necessary to test the machine for its performance. Then we have to check what are the variations of the actual value from the designed value. We have to find that. Then what is the difference between the actual value and recorded value. We have to record it and we have to check what is the difference and what is the error present in the machine. After the testing, the variation in the result such as efficiency regulation, iron losses, copper losses, no load current, no load speed, etc. parameters we have to check, and we have to check with the permissible limit. The reason either for higher values or lower values should be investigated and manufacturing process is modified accordingly. From the testing, we can also determine the quality of workmanship and quality of material used for the manufacturing. We have to check the new design or modified design of a particular machine which is to be manufactured. It is tested so that new product or work as per revised design or not, we have to check in. The machines are periodically tested for the maintenance purpose whenever it is shut down. We have to check the insulation resistance, moisture absorbed by the equipment. This will be affects the equipment. Because of that, we have to test the equipments. Then we have to discuss the various types of test. First one is the routine test, second type test and special test. The first test is the routine test. When electrical machine equipment is manufactured in industry, each and every piece of it is required to undergoes a certain test or routine test are the tests which are conducted on every machine manufactured in the industry. These are the very important tests on the every manufactured equipment. Then second test one is the type test. In any industry, if hundreds of machines are manufactured of the same design in a lot, then type test is carried out only one or two pieces of the machine randomly from a lot. Then type tests are conducted only few pieces from a lot, and the performance of the lot is decided by these samples of the test. The next test word is the special test. These are the tests which can be carried out to know about the particular behavior of the machine or demanded by the purchaser. Means suppose the purchaser gives the some specification for the required machine, we have to take for that purpose we have to check the machine. In this test, we have to determination of noise level, presence of harmonic in induced voltages, or determination of zero phase sequence impedance comes under this category. Then we have to discuss what are the different methods of testing. In that there will be two methods, direct testing method and indirect testing method, and third one is the regenerative method of testing. Then we have to discuss the first one is the direct method of testing. In this method, the machine under test can be loaded directly either with the help of brake arrangement or coupling a calibrated machine to its shaft for loading purpose. For example, we have to consider the brake test, and second one is the calibrated machine test. These are the direct method of testing. Then we have to discuss, for example, we have to discuss the direct method of testing. In this method, input is given to the motor and output is measured, and when the machine is actually loaded, then the efficiency we have to calculate, that is output divided by input. The advantage of this test is the machine is loaded to its full load, hence temperature rise at full load and commutation problems can be actually determined in this test. But there will be another disadvantage is output power is measured by the mechanical system, which cannot be so accurate. Then next one is the brake method. One of the method is represented in the diagram, which consists of two wooden blocks fixed to a lever in such a way that the water cooled pulley of the motor can be applied brake when the tightening nuts through the bolts are tightened. The torque developed by the motor under such condition is balanced by the lever when it remains in horizontal position, which can be adjusted by adding or subtracting weight W2. The torque developed by the motor on the pulley is given by P into R milli-kg. This torque is balanced by the movement of the weight W2 and pulley of the spring W1. When the lever is in horizontal position, therefore, P into R is equal to W1 plus W2 into L, where L is the length of the lever from the center of the pulley to weight W1 or W2 in meter. The output power of the motor is given by 2 pi Nt divided by 60 m kg per second, or we have to solve further, that is we have to put the value of T. Therefore, power output of the motor 2 pi n W1 plus W2 into L divided by 60 into 75 HP. The next method is brake test with rope. In the diagram first and second is called as prawn brake method. A rope or belt is used to provide brake to the motor. See in the image, the two springs balance the F1 and F2 are attached to the two ends of the rope or belt, which are kept at horizontal distance equal to the diameter of pulley and twice the thickness of rope or belt. See in the second image, the tension on the belt is adjusted by adjusting the swells or by adding weight F1. The resistance to the motion of the pulley is due to the friction of rope or belt. The effective force acting at the rim of the pulley is F1 minus F2 in kg, as F1 opposes motion and F2 helps motion. Therefore, the torque developed by the motor is equal to the F1 minus F2 into effective radius of the pulley, which may be taken as radius of the pulley plus or minus half of the thickness of the belt or rope. Therefore, we have to calculate the output of the motor. It is given by 2 pi Nt divided by 60, where torque already we have to discuss that is the difference of the two forces F1 minus F2 into R. Here R is the radius of the pulley. Or we have to use the output of motor 2 pi Nt divided by 60 into 9.81 watt. By solving further, we have to get the value of output of motor 0.327 pi Nt in terms of watt. The input to the motor is measured by a voltmeter and ammeter connected in the motor line. Then the input is VL/IL and efficiency of the motor is given by output divided by input of the motor. Therefore, we have to get the efficiency formula 0.327 pi Nt divided by VL/IL. Then second method is the calibrated machine test. In this method, one machine says as generator is available whose efficiency at different loads conditions are known. Then it can be used for loading the motor under test. The output of the generator can be supplied to the electrical load, or its output can also feed back to the mains, which will save the electrical energy. In such case, energy drawn from the main will be only equal to the losses taking place in both the machines. In this method, we require one calibrated machine for the test. Therefore, in this method, the output of the generator is given by Vg Ig, where the input to the generator is equal to output of the motor. Therefore, Vg Ig divided by efficiency of the generator. This is the input to the generator. Then input to motor, it is given by line voltage and line current, that is VL/IL in terms of watt. Then efficiency of the motor is calculated by Vg Ig divided by efficiency of the generator, that is into input to the motor VL/IL. These are the different tests we have to study in the direct loading test method. Then we have to discuss related to the indirect method of testing. In the indirect method of testing, the machine under test is not directly loaded. For determining its efficiency or the performance of the characteristic of that machine is determined by using the data obtained in the no load test performed on the machine. Under this category, we will study the Swinburne's test. For that purpose, we have to study the Swinburne test. In this test, the machine under the test is run as a motor. Through it may be a motor or generator at no load by connecting the rated voltage across its terminal, that is DC supply, and adjusting by its field current with the help of field resistance to the rated speed at no load. Under this condition, its no load current is indicated by I0, its shunt field current is IF, and rated voltage VL are recorded. Then under this test, the total input power to the motor is calculated, that is VL I0. As the motor is running at no load, output is 0. Hence, the total power input under this condition is utilized in supplying losses at no load condition. Then no load armature current of the motor is given by I0 is equal to I0 minus IF. Then constant losses of the machines are given by no load input minus no load armature copper losses. Then what is the no load input? That is VL I0 minus what is the no load armature copper losses? I0 square into RA. This is the armature copper losses. RA is the armature resistance. Then we have to find the stray losses. The stray losses will be given by the VL I0 minus IA0 square into RA minus VL IF. Then we have to consider the second case. If the machine is motor, its full load line current is indicated by IL ampere. Its armature current on full load IL minus IF. Full load armature current or copper losses is equal to IA square into RA, or given by IL minus IF bracket square into RA. Then efficiency of the machine as a motor on full load is equal to given by input minus losses divided by input. We have to put in the value of input and losses in the equation, and we have to get the value. Then see, when the machine is under a generator, then IL is its full load output current. Then efficiency will be given by the output divided by output plus losses. We have to put the values of output and losses, then we get the efficiency at full load. Then what are the advantages of this test is, when the machine is run at no load only, hence power consumption is very small. Hence this test is economical. And the second advantage is efficiency curve for very high rating machines can be determined by this method. Then efficiency at any desired load condition, even overload, can be determined by this test. And the disadvantage of is it cannot be used for DC machine tests. This test is carried out only on the DC machines or compound machines. Then we have to discuss related to the regenerative method of testing. In that we have to study the Hopkins test. In this type of test, the mechanical output of the one machine will be used for generating electrical energy by the other machine, and the electrical energy generated by the other machine will be used by the first, so that only losses of both the machine will be drawn from the mains and the machine can be loaded to their full load. For that we have to study this test. This is the circuit diagram for performing the test on two identical machines. The shaft of these machines are mechanically coupled. At the start, switch S kept open and the machine to be run as a motor is started by taking supply of rated voltage from the mains. The field current of the motor is adjusted so that it works at its rated speed. The excitation of the machine working as a generator is then adjusted till the voltmeter across the switch records the 0 voltage. Under this condition, the induced EMF of the generator is equal to the supply voltage. If the switch S is closed, then the machine working as a generator and comes in parallel with the mains and will float on the bus bar. Under this condition, the power drawn from the mains is equal to the total losses at no load of both the machines. If the machine are to be loaded to their full load, the excitation of the machine working as a generator is gradually increased so that its induced EMF become more than the supply voltage, and it will be starts sharing its load from the mains. As the generator gets loaded, the motor will also gets loaded as they are mechanically coupled. Its speed will drop to maintain its speed constant. Its excitation is gradually reduced. At the same time, the motor will draw more current from mains to supply the mechanical input to the generator. Or we say that the electrical output of generator is drawn by the motor and the mechanical power output of the motor is utilized by the generator. By properly adjusting the excitation of both the machines, they are made to run at their full load at constant speed. Under this condition, we have to see the different parameter. I is the ampere, current in ampere, then V is the supply voltage in volt, Ig the reading of the ammeter A2, IMF be the reading of ammeter A3, IGF ampere be the reading of ammeter A4 present in the diagram. Then Im is the current flowing through the armature of the motor, which is equal to the I plus Ig. The total input from the mains is Vi plus V into Igf plus V into IMF in terms of watt. Then we have to calculate the total losses in both the machines will be given by the stray losses of the motor plus field copper losses of the motor plus armature copper losses of motor plus stray losses of generator plus field copper losses of generator plus armature copper losses of generator. These are the different, that is copper losses and stray losses of generator as well as motor we have to consider here. Then we have to putting the values of all the losses, we get the final equation of the total losses of the machine. After getting the losses present in the system, we have to find the efficiency of the machine working as a motor is given by input to motor minus losses divided by input to motor. Then what is the input to the motor? V into Im plus V into Imf. Then total losses of motor, it is already calculated, that is P0 plus V Imf plus Im square into Rm, copper losses plus stray losses. Then efficiency of motor will be given by the formula. Then efficiency of the machine working as a generator is given by output of generator divided by output plus losses. We have to putting the value of output of generator and losses, we get the efficiency of the generator. Then we have to study the what is the machine test or calibrated test. This type of test is carried out to the determine the efficiency and temperature rise of the machine under the test. For this test or for this purpose, we have to use the calibrated machine, means the machine whose efficiency at different load conditions are known and is coupled with the shaft of the machine under the test. In this test, the machine under the test is running as a motor and calibrated machine is used as a generator. The capacity of calibrated machine is so selected that it will load the machine under the test up to full load. In this method, the output of generating machine can be fed back to the mains, so that power required for conducting the test will be only equal to the losses of the two machines. See here, we have to loaded the machine to the bus bar also, or generator. Output of the generator is coupled to the main bus bar. See here in the image, we have to test the DC shunt machine, and the generator is supplying electrical power at voltage V. Its load current is I2. Motor works at voltage V and draws current I1. Therefore, the output of the generator is V into I2 watt, then input is V into I2 divided by efficiency of the generator. Then we have to obtain the input to the motor is V into I1, hence the efficiency will be given by input to the generator, or we have to say that output of the motor divided by input to the motor. From this we have to get the efficiency. Similarly, we have to obtain the temperature rise, that is RT2 is equal to RT1 into 234.5 plus T2 divided by 234.5 plus T1. RT1 be the resistance, RT2 be the resistance after the test, and RT1 be the resistance before the test carried out in the system, and T1 are the ambient temperature, and then we have to get the temperature rise in the system. These are the regenerative braking test is carried out. Then we have to discuss related to the mechanical test before commissioning. Then what are the tests we have to discuss? We have to check the nameplate data should be checked against the specification of the machine. Then we have to observe the machine is complete and no parts of its machine is missed or broken during the transit. Then you have to check the brush holders, brushes, whether it is proper or not. Then we have to check the proper wedges are provided in slot, wire bands are proper, and winding ends are properly soldered in risers or connected to the slip rings. These are the different parameters we have to check for the machines. Again, we have to check the clearance between the stator and rotor. We have to check whether the bearings make any noise or it will be properly or smoothly working or not, or we have to check for the properly greasing or oil is added into the bearings or provided to the bearings. We have to check the tightness of the terminal connections. Then we have to check for the position of brush holders and brushes. These are the different mechanical tests we have to carry out. Then we have to discuss what are the different electrical tests are carried out before the commissioning. Then we have to discuss what are the different tests. Winding resistance should be measured and check with the supplier values whether it is correct or not. Then we have to check for the insulation resistance between the windings, between the core or between the winding and body, it is properly maintained according to the specification or whether it is less. Then we have to check for the high voltage test is to be carried out. Then check machine is run at no load with its rated voltage, frequency, and we have to check the no load data test verified with the supply data provided. Then if possible the machine is then loaded and test records are verified with the full load data. Then we have to check the large machines if forced air cooling system is properly provided or whether it is properly working. Then oil lubrication bearings, it is to be checked for the proper working or not. These are the different electrical tests are carried out on the machines or electrical system before the commissioning. Then we have to discuss related to the concept of tolerance. Then what is the tolerance? The permissible variation in the performance of machine as per ISS are called as a tolerance. Unless otherwise specified, tolerance shall be accordance with the table as given in the below. This is the value of tolerance in the electrical machine. We have to provide it as per ISDN standards. Then see, we have to consider as an item and tolerance. Suppose you have to consider the efficiency, then total losses applicable to the machine above 50 kilowatt, power factor of the induction machines, speed of DC shunt and separately excited motors at full load and working temperature. And what are the values of tolerance we have to provide it in the second column. These are the standard values for the electrical machine. This is the concept of tolerance. Thank you friends.